My dearest friends, welcome to my channel. I'm Kaiser Hilary from Heart to Heart, and I'm back today with another interview, What is Channeling, with my beautiful guest, Hilary from Hils The Medium. You would like to introduce yourself, Hilary?
Hi, everyone. I'm Hilary Kelly, and I am from Hils The Medium. I'm a mom of two beautiful girls. I'm a wife of 10 plus years, and I started my business just over a year ago.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being with me.
Thank you for having me.
And I just, maybe everybody who has watched the introduction, I said that I connected by myself. I got a session not a long time ago, and it was with Hilary. I connected her because I had these informations I should connect with my family line, and what is a very special task of you, or your specialty. You're a medium.
Yes.
And you can connect with souls who has passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You're the first one who has this as a specialty in this video series.
Oh, wow.
In our session, what was interesting, that finally a soul stepped in, a living soul. I had long time no contact with this person, and it was the informations I got through you were absolutely perfect, what I needed to hear, and confirmation, and as well what I really appreciated, how you transmit, how you give these information. So very respectful. You asked me 2 times, do you really want to know that, for example? Mm-hmm. And with a lot of heart. So it was easy to take, even when it was not so easy what was coming through.
Yeah.
So, and now we're already in the midst.
That's amazing. I appreciate that.
Yeah, me too, really. And this is still working. I will have a look what I will do with that.
Yeah.
Unfold. And yeah, your channel, you connect with souls, with informations. And how did you find out that you can do that, or that you have this gift? How did it happen?
It's kind of an interesting story, and I feel like most people who end up finding out that they have these abilities kind of have this interesting story. I met my husband in July of 2008, and then by February of 2009, I went to see a psychic that he had gone to see a few times, and I had never been to a psychic before, so I thought, sure, let's try. During the reading, I ended up having visions of myself doing readings, but I didn't understand what it was. And then that's July 2009, unfortunately, my friend and her sister passed away in a car accident. Not long after that, I started having very, very vivid dreams and messages coming through and visions. And one vision in particular, I knew was going to come true in about 6 to 7 years. And it was just a vision of her mom finding a binder that her and I had in high school. I didn't know she even had it still. And that her mom would contact me and give it to me. And about 6.5 years later, that actually came true. And I now have the binder. I should have gotten it out to show everyone I have that binder. And it's very special to me. And that kind of proved at that point, okay, there's something more to me than what I think I'm just thinking of and hoping is a wishful thought. And then a lot of practicing over the years since then, trying to learn and understand what my channeling is. So.
Wow, I got goosebumps all over.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I've got the feeling often the passing away from a dear loved one is opening up gifts to a very high amount. Often.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that definitely, I would say that was the turning point for me. I'd had a lot of, family members and grandparents pass previously, but up until then, you know, it didn't really happen. And especially to someone who's 19 and her sister was 15, it hits hard. We were in a small community, so it shook everybody, including myself. But that was the turning point for my major spiritual awakening. So,
Wow.
yeah.
And how do you use your gift? So you're giving sessions as well.
Yeah, so I offer, my main package that I give is an hour long, and it's mainly focused on the mediumship and connecting to past loved ones to deliver messages, you know, that the client is looking for, or, you know, maybe necessarily they didn't need to hear it or didn't want to hear it, I should say, but they need to hear it. Also, you know, it's answering questions around, you know, that person's passing, or things that maybe didn't get said that can now be delivered through these readings. Now, sometimes I will add in, not so much me, but spirit, if they allow, they add in a little psychic reading and guidance session, as I like to call it. But what I usually do is just offer a half an hour psychic reading instead, to focus on, you know, whatever it is the client would like to know when it comes to, you know, health, relationships, career, finances, just kind of anything that they would like to know about. And we kind of go from there. So
very practical things for life as well.
yes, exactly. Yeah. I use my abilities just to kind of, you know, help those who need those answers, that, you know, they couldn't really get any other way other than this way. So.
And do you use tools? I don't know, cards or something, or how do you open and start these readings?
So for me, what I do, and I mean, I even have it right now, what I always do is have a pen and paper, because sometimes I need to doodle and write something down. And it, especially what I like to do before my readings, is I will connect and do my meditations and everything. And I usually connect with their past loved ones about 10 to 15 minutes before the session even starts. So that allows me to write down any information or messages that I get ahead of time, to then be able to deliver quickly and say, hey, you know what, your loved one was so excited to come through, or they have these very important messages. So they're already here, you know, and that also allows us to kind of go through it quickly, in a sense, and allow more time in case someone else's loved one or spirit wants to come in. But other than that, I don't use any cards or anything like that. It's just not something I find I need, because I just channel right through. So.
And can you describe how this feels? You already said you had visions. So you see images of films. I don't know. Can you describe how this feels to channel for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So this one, definitely, it took a while to understand that I was actually having my visions and channeling. You know, this started off as a child, that I would have these different visions or feelings, instincts, gut feelings, right? And it's our intuition.
Yeah.
And over time, I started to understand it more. So what I do see most of the time is either a flash of a little, it's almost like a little movie of something from, you know, that person's life that's important to them, or they will show me a picture of something very quickly. Sometimes they like to communicate by just what I say, talking to me, which is almost like my own thoughts, but it's understanding that it's not my thoughts. And you know, it really, I find it depends on the spirit and the soul and how they like to communicate. Sometimes they don't like to show things, and it's easier for them to talk and explain it that way, or it's easier to just suddenly I'll feel sad or happy, or, you know, whatever emotion that they kind of have. You know, the heavy energies, I can definitely feel those, and they kind of weigh me down. And I've actually had clients notice the change in myself while I was channeling from a higher, happier vibrational person to someone who was a little more, just a little lower vibration.
Down.
Yeah, they just, they could actually see the difference in me. And I thought that was really interesting, because I obviously don't pay attention to myself when I'm channeling. So yeah, those are kind of my main things that I do and how I channel.
And just a special question coming up, because you're the first one with really these contacts with past. So is it frightening sometimes for you as well, or is there always light in that?
So that is something I definitely had to learn, is that it's okay to put up my boundaries. And, I will flat out tell them, I do not want to see a traumatic event. If you want to tell me about it, that is okay, or give me hints. I usually explain to my clients, it's like putting a puzzle together, and they'll give me little pieces, but sometimes they don't want to give a certain piece of information. And, sometimes the clients will fill that in for me, and then I just can fully understand what it is that I'm seeing or hearing. So yeah, it's really dependent, I find, on each individual soul that comes through. So yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I think this is really a learning process for everybody, channeling, to how to use this, and this boundary setting as well. So saying, oh, break here, I don't want to have this information.
Yes. So I also do, when I'm connecting beforehand, I make sure to call in only the highest of good, for not only myself and my clients or whoever, for the collective that I'm doing for. And, I'm very, I put my shield up and everything else ahead of time, because especially with mediumship, you do have to be careful of what spirit is coming in, because once the light's on, everybody wants to come in. And, I can easily, even right now, I've got I'm tingling all over, because there's so many spirits and souls here, and the energy is so high. So it's really important to protect ourselves and call in the proper spirits or souls, I would say.
I remember that I asked to get information about my grandmother, and you said my grandfather is stepping in as well. He wants to talk as well. What was beautiful. So this as a very practical example for what you're talking about, that there are other souls coming in and saying, there's a light on this one, but I was near and I have something to say as well.
It's interesting, because, I will have some clients that they only expect to hear from one loved one, and suddenly there's, 4 or 5 here. And also don't even know that one. They just want to be acknowledged, or, know that they're here protecting you, or, sending you love, things like that. So it's really interesting. And sometimes they're the ones that have the most important messages. So, yeah.
The connection is a bit less good, but now you're back. You're back.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe this is spirit already. So these coming in. So just I have this question: if you can locate, and for sure there's soul speaking for you. So it's not just the universe. But how
do I do that?
When I listen to you, I see the light balls. This is my image, I guess. How this is for you.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So it definitely took a lot of practice. So when I first started my mediumship, I just did free readings for about a month and a half, 2 months, every day practicing, to learn and understand the feelings of individual souls. Now I understand the males will always come in on this side and the females will always come in on this side. So yeah, it did take me a little while to connect fully to understand that. But ever since then, I feel like that's made it a lot easier. And just my connection gets stronger the more I continue practicing, I find.
So we have this mirror effect, but what I see on the right side, you have the males coming in, on the left side, the females.
Yes. So the males always come in on the right for me and the females are on the left. I also, due to my visions, I'll close my eyes quite often to see into my third eye. So it's really hard to explain, I've realized.
Yeah, but what I found interesting, this is something I never heard, because we have these, our right part of the body is a masculine one and the left one is a feminine one. So, and it's interesting, it's logic in a way that you have these people coming in on the side where they belong in a way.
Yeah.
Where they can connect with. Beautiful. Interesting. So I love these interviews so much. You can't imagine. For me, it's such a exploring journey. At the base, I just, for myself, I hope this will be for others as well, how this is functioning for everybody personally and uniquely. And I think there's something in common. We will see how this will unfold over. I hope to make a lot of interviews.
Yeah, definitely.
So this is a good one. Can you control that when these souls coming in and when not?
So again, that was a lot of learning and putting boundaries up. At this point, I can control. Like I said, I can already feel there's a lot of energies around, but I knew, and I was allowing them to come in to help with today's session and interview. But in terms of a loved one coming in, I again will put my boundaries up and say, no, not right now. I'm not connected. I make sure to connect before my reading and then disconnect after my readings. Sometimes spirit can, or the past loved one soul can be a little pushy. But I find that's because there's a very important message that needs to come through. For example, the very first time I ever read for someone, I didn't realize it was their sister's 1-year anniversary of their passing. And I just sent them a message and said, I'm so sorry. I need to talk to you. And I just kind of said, I hope this is okay. And I just let out all this information that I have in my head. And it answered so many questions for them that they didn't, it was very hard for them. And it ended up being the 1-year anniversary. So the timing of it. But this sister had been with me for that entire year. And she was so persistent, but I was like, no, I can't do this. I'm not a medium. I don't, that's how I felt at the time. And then once she was so persistent in getting these messages across that it was like, okay, now I understand this is why I'm doing this and having these visions and information come through. So, but yeah, it's very important to learn to turn it off. And especially as an empath as well, picking up on everyone else's energies is very overwhelming at times. And I spend a lot of time kind of alone and trying to disconnect, and just really grounding myself in nature as well. That is definitely key for me.
I can totally relate with that. And so what I hear, it is an act of balance as well, to say on one hand, okay, no, this is not the moment, the space for your information, but staying open at the same time that there might be something coming in that has to be said, that has to be given to somebody else, or is important in your own situation.
Absolutely. And I also find, as a medium, it's very important to, use your discernment. Some people are not open or accepting to these types of messages. And that's okay. So normally I do not go out of my way to say, hey, I've got a message for you. I will usually, because I know spirit will eventually bring them to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's happened many, many times where I know someone, that they're kind of having a hard time or they need a message, but I know it's not my time or my place to say something.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it's also about divine timing.
Mm-hmm.
It's when they are ready to hear the messages. I had one client who, they'd been to different psychics and mediums, for many, many years, and they never got one particular message until just last year from me, well, from their father, I should say. And it took them
Mm-hmm.
20 years to get that message.
Wow.
But it's because she was not ready for the message.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important to, again, have those boundaries with
Mm-hmm.
ourselves as well. So.
Yeah, but I think what you say there, what is really important for everybody who's receiving messages for other people, to respect, also to get a permission by the other
Yeah,
one.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And not to say, yeah, I've got this information, blah, 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 and
Yeah.
they want to know that. Can you use this gift for yourself, like for others?
Sometimes I can, and sometimes my guides just kind of laugh at me and say, "You don't get to know."
Mm-hmm.
My friend that passed away in 2009, she is one of my main guardian angels. And she has been guiding me through this entire journey since 2009 when she passed away. It took until just last year that she actually explained to me in her own how do I explain this? It was from her own perspective of what happened in the accident and what happened from the other person's perspective, because I wasn't ready to hear that. And it turns out it was because her best friend was ending up coming for a reading. So it's tricky because there's certain things I feel I'm just not allowed to know, even if I wanted to. Yeah, I go to other readers because they can give me the information basically that I can't get. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, this is what nearly everybody answered to this question. First of all, sometimes we are not allowed, not at that point of time.
Yeah,
it's not then the moment to know some things. And the other thing, what I say always, what is so beautiful when we just want to know information that could be heavy to take as well, or that it's good to be with another person who is holding space and not alone as well.
Absolutely. It's I find it's also, that they want you to, I guess spirit and source, God, universe, they want us to have faith in them. Being here is extremely difficult, and we need to learn to have faith that they will take care of us and that we are okay. So I find that's another reason why we're not allowed to know everything, because that takes away from the lessons. Just because we can find out information for other people doesn't mean, we get to know. So
I think it's the same, that we also give just the information to other people that they should know at that moment of time.
Yeah.
And there's the same regulation in a way. So I think this question, you have already answered it, but I ask it anyway. So how are you really sure this information is coming from spirit, from a soul, and not through you? Is this distinction?
Yeah. So again, that one took a while to understand. And it was basically to the point where I had all this information about people, but I didn't know them. How would I know this information? Where was this thought coming from? And it's really trying to understand and use your discernment that, okay, this is not something I would normally think about or feel. So, it's then, yeah, again, a lot of practice and understanding that it's not always you. And again, during mediumship readings, I'm connected to their soul, the past loved one, whereas other times I'm connected to their spirit guides or even their higher self. So, the connections are always different when it comes to the energy as well.
Yeah. And I think the first story you told me about the information you got, that in 6.5 years, the mother of the past friend will find this belt. How should you know that?
Exactly. Like I said, I didn't even know she still had the binder. I mean, it was from high school. It was she passed a few years later. I didn't even know she still had it. So yeah. And yeah, I mean, lots of crazy things. I say crazy, but a lot of things like that have happened since that obviously pushed me to go, okay, there's more to myself than what I thought.
And I think I can imagine you have this experience as well, that clients give you a lot of feedback of, oh, yeah, this is resonating, and yes, and wow. And
yes, that I feel is definitely the biggest help, because without them, I don't know what the information means or if the information is true or false. And they can help clarify those things. One thing that I love to do is I do a free question Friday, most Fridays. And this gives me the ability to practice my mediumship and my psychic abilities because the questions are always different. It's just then finding out, oh, okay, that's really neat. Yeah, that totally makes sense to them, even though the question was just something very small. They don't. Some people, might give a specific question, but other people don't. They just, what's the message for me today? And then I have to take my time to sit and channel that. And I will usually give a decent message. And to have them come back and go, wow, that's what I needed. Or, how did you know that? Or things like that is really neat. A perfect example, I had a client ask, a simple, what message do I need? I gave the quick message, and then all of a sudden it came through like, where are the glasses? And what's with the pearls? And I said, there's 2 sets of pearls though. And she says, oh, I'm not really sure. She says, but I think for the glasses, she had lost her glasses or something. She was looking for them that morning. But the pearls she wasn't sure about. Well, she asked her mother later that day, and her mother has both of the grandmother's sets of pearls.
Wow.
So because the client wasn't sure doesn't mean that the message won't make sense to someone else.
And how I saw this, that you make this question Fridays. I have never participated until now. I will do that. How is it working? The people writing down a question and then you make a live answering, or how is it functioning?
So I'm actually going to change it up a little bit because it's getting a little overwhelming now. I get a little too many questions and it's a lot. But what I like to do is, I love to give back. So I offer one free question. And it can be a psychic question or mediumship question. It could be specific or not specific, as you could tell. And, they can either comment right on the post, or what most people do is send me a private message. And then I will then read the question. When I have time to channel the answer back, I just type the answer back. And that way they have the message and the answer right there.
And you write down the answer, or how do you give them? Oh, well, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, so I do, it's basically I do everything pretty much all online. So through Facebook Messenger or Instagram Messenger. And I type the message out that I've channeled and send it to them. And that way they have the answer kind of there, and they can look back whenever they need. And it's also really neat because then they can go back months later and go, wow, she said that. And it just happened.
And you write them in personal messages, or it's under the post?
Personal messages for most of them,
Okay.
because it's usually a pretty personal question. Sometimes if it's just a quick, like, how's my career, or am I on the right path, and how's my career, and it's like, I heard yes, keep going, you know, something like that, I might just
Okay.
have a quick message. But most of the time I get a decent amount that I need to type out. So yeah.
So you always picked on that, as you said, you had a client who wanted to have a special message about her mother, I think, and she came to you after having sessions with several other mediums and psychics. And do you think that different psychics, mediums, however we call ourselves, give different messages?
Absolutely. For myself, you know, I've been going to psychics and mediums, and I've done past life regression, hypnosis, things like that over the years. And I find that we all channel so differently. And that's what makes each one of us so unique, and why we're all spread out as healers to be able to reach so many people. So, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense for me. I think also that even when the messages are not coming from this personal system here, Kaya or Hilary in your case, that I think it's a bit the law of attraction. What I channel has a lot of to do with my own history, and I attract a lot of clients that has very similar challenges in life or traumas.
Yes, I have found that as well. You know, I talk pretty openly about my PTSD and my traumatization struggles over the years. You know, my daughter was born premature, and that took a lot out on me. But it's also really helped me to understand and have different perspectives, you know. And I find a lot of us go through those different traumas over the years, because that's what then helps us be able to deliver the messages properly. You know,
Yes.
you 100% understand that. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think this is kind of the school, the way.
Yeah.
And for sure, it is also what I find beautiful, that I can really understand another person when she or he has similar experiences like I had or have. So there is not just, I see you have a problem there, but from another level, it is then the same level we can talk about something.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I find, you know, as a collective, we've been going through so much. And, you know, as I go through something, it's like a few months, you know, sorry, even a few weeks to like a month later, I will have a client reach out, and it's like they're going through something similar that I just went through. And then I'm able to help them because I just managed to get through it. So it's really interesting how that comes around.
It's beautiful as well.
Yeah.
So we are already nearly at the end of my questions, and I have a question, if you would like to. As you said, you have a lot of spirits around. If they have a special message here for this moment of time, or when not something is coming through, this video will go out at the 10th of July, and my feeling is then we have nearly the half of the year, of this intense year. If there is a message for the collective coming through in this moment of time.
Yes, already. Let me see. Okay, so there's a young male that has stepped forward that he's trying to get a message across to somebody who's going to see this video, but I have no idea who we're trying to connect with right now. So I'm trying to ask them to just leave for now. So get the collective message here, but this is what happens, you know, like I said, they see the light and they just want to come. So if anybody can, you know, take the young male, message me. That's all I got so far as young male. Okay, yeah, so basically what I'm getting now for the collective is, you know, again, we've been going through lots of changes and transitions through this year, and it's going to continue. And, you know, as you mentioned, the big shift with July 10th, well, just July in general, the second half of the year, I'm feeling this is where the shift is going to happen and things are going to start to progress for everybody. You know, all the hard work that everybody's been putting in the last, you know, few months, few years even, it's really going to start to come to fruition for people now. The universe, you know, they're pushing people towards, you know, their path. And, you know, as a collective, they're saying, you know, you can do it. And you know, I talked about this last night, actually, of, you know, letting go of our self-limiting beliefs, because we're the ones that are holding ourselves back with our own fears. And they're talking about that again as a reminder to everybody. And they're wanting me to mention this again that I did last night, you know, of, you know, life is like a tornado sometimes, and it can come in and create chaos, but it's going to go away. And once that goes away, the skies will clear, the sun will come out again. But remember to have time and patience, because it takes time to rebuild after a storm. And I feel like as a collective, you know, with the pandemic and everything that's been going on the last few years, we're all trying now as a collective to raise the vibration and to move forward. And I feel like a lot of those changes are coming, especially as the energies continue to change. So yeah, everyone is encouraged to just keep going. And if you feel the need to change, you know, your course of path, then do it, because that's what you're being pushed towards. So
Thank you.
yeah. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. What was interesting, the cat, he is sleeping so much at the moment because it's so hot. And when you started channeling, she woke up and she went in.
Oh.
And this message is really resonating. I've got the feeling as well. So in July, July will be wild again.
Yeah.
And then there will be really a shift in energy and things start. So in the midst. Thank you
almost
very
like
much.
there's one more like turn in the tornado, one more wave, they're kind of saying, it feels like. So
yeah, what we talked about before the video, the storms, I think July will be stormy.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I can see it held out this time because it's starting to get windier and cloudier now. So
well, thank you very much. Yes. Beautiful. So we had an example of your mediumship, of your channeling, or however you call it.
Yes. Well. Thank you for allowing me to do that as well, and the opportunity to talk to everyone, you know, who watches this video, and with you, and the opportunity to just share my experiences with everyone. I really appreciate it.
The cat wants to share with you as well.
Hi, sweetie. Oh.
Just to say, everybody who wants to connect with you, I will write all your contact information in the description box. You're available for sessions at the moment?
Yeah, so I do, I'm available most days and evenings. It will be changing at the end of the month into July because my daughters are done school. So unfortunately, they'll be home a little more. But yeah, reach out. You know, I absolutely love what I do. And anybody who needs a message, maybe it's time. So.
And I can really highly recommend these sessions. I had 2 in the meantime, and they were really beautiful and very supporting for me. And I found you have not just this gift of channeling or this ability, you have a really heartwarming energy as well, and heart-opening energy. very
Thank you.
respectful and fine.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. That's one thing I do find, that as hard as it is to deliver the messages, sometimes the people need it, but it's how we deliver it, and giving compassion and understanding as well. That's one thing I never judge, because I understand we're all on our own journeys.
Yes.
Things all happen for a reason, and sometimes it is what it is,
Yes. And just to not forget it, where are you located? So this is the time zone.
Right, I forgot that. Yes, I'm located in Ontario in Canada.
Canada.
And yeah, I do offer Zoom readings, and also on phone as well. So you can email me, check out my website, my Facebook, and my Instagram, like you mentioned, and
Yes.
yeah, get in contact with me. So
Do that.
Hi, beautiful souls. This is Hilary from Hils The Medium. The young male that came through earlier in the interview has come through again to give some more information, and I just wanted to share it with you all, and in hopes that we can find who this is actually meant for. I just wanted to make it clear that if you believe this is for you, make sure you are able to take every single thing that, every piece of information that comes through, okay? Thank you. So far I have a young male, 20 to 30 years old. He's tall, a little slender, but athletic as well. He has blonde hair, kind of short and possibly, ear length. He has an accent, blue eyes. Has a very caring nature. He can be quiet or shy at times, but I feel that was more in his younger years. He has a sense of humor and can be life of the party with certain groups. I'm also picking up on an accident, and I do see a blue car, and I'm also hearing "I'm sorry" and "I didn't mean to." So whoever this message resonates with, please get in contact with me, and hopefully we can figure out whose loved one this is coming through. Thank you so much. Bye for now.
Thank you very much. Hilary will come to an end. I give you the last word.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you so much, and much love to everybody who watches this, and all of you beautiful souls.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Okay.
Bye-bye.